Hello valued viewers, I hope you're all doing very well and welcome to our latest Sea Power battle. If you remember, we're working our way through this class competition. We've reached the semi-finals and the previous semi-final battle we run was the Iowa battleship from America versus the Soviet Slava cruiser. The Slava won. There were lots of people I noticed in the comments upset about the Iowa losing, and believe me, I understand. I really wanted the Iowa to win, but we have to run it fair and square each time. Otherwise, to be honest, there's no point in doing it. So Slava goes through to the final, which brings us on to today. So if you remember, the Ticonderoga cruiser took on the Kinder cruiser in the early rounds. The Tico absolutely smashed the Kinder. I just didn't have a suitable cruiser to put against the Tico. I couldn't use the Slava, remember, because it's already in the competition. And in Sea Power, I just don't have a lot of other cruisers to choose from. So the Tico went through. Then we had the Russian early 1980s Sovremenny class destroyer versus what I figured would probably be the most powerful US destroyer, at least in core game, which would be the Kid class destroyer. And the Sovremenny won. So today is the Tico versus the Sovremenny. Now, since doing the last battle, or since recording the last battle, NTU mod has come out, New Threat Upgrade, which upgrades a lot of the American ships to a more modern specification. So everything in game is pretty much 1960 to 1985. After 1985, the US had a massive naval leap for its warships, installing Mark 41 VLS systems, as well as upgrades to their various weapons and ship loadouts. That upgrade is deliberately not in the core game because what it does is it leaps the Americans ahead of the Soviets, which is great in real life if you're an American, but it makes a kind of cruddy game because the balance completely goes. Now, you guys want me to use this mod to make the Americans more powerful, but I don't think we should do it. Or, in fact, let me do a deal with you. I don't think it's fair that in the first round we start using the core game US assets, i.e. pre-1985, and then in the later rounds suddenly upgrade them to the late 1980s, early 1990s, when the Americans had that huge naval upgrade. So I suggest we stick to pre-1986 US ships and pre-1986 Soviet ships to keep it balanced. But we can add in upgraded or later vessels at the end of the competition. So let's do pre-1986, get to the finals, and let's get a winner. That winner then can take on a more modern ship, like, for instance, a post-1986 Ticonderoga. That way we should be able to please everyone. So today, pre-1986 Ticonderoga and early 1980s Sovremenny. Next, technical specifications. We need to remind ourselves about the vessels. So pre-1986 Tico relied mainly on SM2 or RIM 66C as its defense. It fires them in two Mark 26 twin arm launchers, bow and stern here, and it has a total magazine of 68 of those. In terms of anti-shipping, she has 8 RGM-84 early harpoons in her specialised launchers on the stern here. Again, back to defence, we have 20mm Sea Whiz, Mark 15, 2 of them, both amidships here. In terms of naval gunnery, she has 2 single 5-inch guns, bow and stern. In terms of the Sovremenny, her main air defence is going to be the SA-N7 or the Gladfly, you may know it as SA-11, fired by twin single-arm launchers, bow and stern. Her main offence is the SSN-22 Sunburn, a really good anti-shipping missile, at least in sea power, capable of 3 times the speed of sound, so Mark III, almost impossible to stop. She carries 8 of those amidships. She has 2 twin 130mm naval guns, so a total of 4 barrels, 2 there and 2 there. In terms of Sea Whiz, she has 4 to the Americans' 2, 30mm to the Americans' 20mm, all amidships there and there. The battle will be our usual configuration to keep every battle the same. Today I've decided to go to the Aegean Sea, and that's a really interesting place looking at it. I've never been, you know what, I've been almost nowhere. I've been to Germany, I've been to Italy, and that's about it. But the Aegean Sea looks crazy. Look at all these islands around here. It also allows access to the Black Sea here, And viewers, I have a quick question for you. This access to the Black Sea to the Aegean, is that man-made, like the Suez and the Panama, or is that purely natural? I'd love to know that. I know I can quickly Google it, but it's interesting talking to you guys. The belligerents will be 50 miles apart. As usual, as we always do, it's our standardized firepower test, and they can see each other with AWACS. We'll start with 1v1. Predictions, viewers. Oh, this is a tough one. Well, we've got a 10,000-ton Tico versus an 8,000-ton Sovremenny. The problem is, and this is probably going to be the problem throughout the whole series, is the design purpose of these ships. The Soviet ship really is there to sink American warships and carriers, whereas the Tico and similar American vessels are more general purpose fleet, cruisers, destroyers, frigates and whatnot. So what we're seeming to find as we go on is this type of battle with equal time periods tends to favour the Soviets because they've got specifically designed weapons just for doing this job. Whereas, as I said, the Americans, because they have a very different purpose in the world, have a more general purpose usage, which tends to give the Soviets the edge. So I'm going to have to go for the Sovremenny. Obviously, I want the Tico to win. Just a quick look in 3D, viewers. We've got the naval gun, bow, stern. We've got the Mark 26 twin arm launchers there, and they're later replaced by Mark 41 VLS, of course. We've got Sea-Whiz there, and the other side. And the harpoon launchers are right at the stern there. Sovremenny, which I'm actually becoming a fan of. It's such a beast of a vessel for its size, so powerful. We've got twin naval guns, 130mm, which I think is a bit over-specified. It's almost like a mini pocket battleship there. And there, the Sunburns, the supersonic missiles, which I hate fighting against them, are here amidships. Single arm launchers for the Gladflies are there and there. So half, or roughly half, the firing rate of the American Mark 26 arm launchers. Sea-Whiz is, if you can see it, there. So these can fire broadside and bow on, and stern and broadside here. The gentleman's agreement is, viewers, we allow the vessel with the slowest missiles to fire first, so Tico fires first. Harpoons away from Tico. Now, how many is she going to fire? Six. She fires 6 of her 8. Back to the Sovremenny. Now I have to decide which coalition. Oh wow, she's firing already. I have to decide which coalition pause I actually play each battle, viewers, and we've agreed that I'll swap around each time. So this time it's the Reds' turn. Now don't worry, I won't interfere with the vessel. I won't choose how many missiles she'll fire. I'll just let the AI decide. That way everything's fair on both sides. How many will she decide to fire? Six harpoons versus 6 sunburns. I know which one I'd rather bet on. Now this missile will throttle up to 3 times the speed of sound when she gets near the target, and it's going to make these surely almost unstoppable. Currently cruising at 1,350 knots, and look, it's got over 50% of the way there in 1 minute. The harpoons are probably about there. I mean, it's such an advantage having a fast missile, right? Especially if you've got longer distances, 100, 200, 300 miles. Oh, here we go. It's going to throttle up. Okay, over 1,600 knots now, so nearly Mark 3. Coming over the horizon now. What has Tico got to defend with? Well, we shall see. She goes active. Naval gunfire, not missiles. How interesting. Reaction times can be such a problem, right? Can she take any of the missiles down? Missed. Both SM2s missed. Chaff out. That's it. It's over. Just unstoppable, these missiles. I don't know how I'm going to beat these missiles in the competition. ram into the vessel as fast as a bullet. Alright, let's go and try and find the harpoons. Right, Sovremenny, you've still got to survive. Naval gunfire going up. Bad fire's going up. Harpoon is simply going to be easier to intercept at 500 knots. This vessel really does pack a punch, doesn't it? Wow, that's it. 8 harpoons defeated by a single vessel. I'm not sure I've even seen that before, an early 1980s vessel. Oh dear, well sorry about that, viewers. Let's try and make some sense of that. Why did that happen? The Tico couldn't stop the missiles going at Mark III, and it's possible that even fired nowadays that vessels would struggle to defend themselves against such a fast, low missile. Whether those missiles would have worked that well in real life, or who knows, I guess we'll never know now, but we have to assume that they would have done. This guy here defended those harpoons because they were a lot slower. It had 2 Seawears it could bring to bear rather than the single Seawears, I guess, on the Tico. It didn't have as much missile defense, but what it did have was more than 3 times the amount of time to shoot the missiles down because of the speed that the missiles were coming. You know, it spots them at the same distance, 15 miles over the horizon, that the other ship can, but it's got, you know, 3 minutes rather than 50 seconds to shoot them down, and I guess that's what makes all the difference here. As well as that, don't forget that it's got twice as many guns, so just more defense in that respect. Well, let's move straight on to the 4v4, viewers. Okay, Sovremenny's engage. Is it going to be a walkover again? Now, one thing to remember, viewers, and this is a really important point. Some of these missiles, and I think this includes this type of missile, is not data linked, which means that, like the harpoon, they fire it at a target, so all 4 targets, but that doesn't mean that's what the missile will actually go for. If I turn on the sensors, we'll see the weapon seekers when they turn them on. Once they see a hostile, they'll decide themselves, the missiles will decide themselves which target they go for. And they may not spread equally. They may even all go for one target if they find that a more attractive target. And that sometimes means the battles don't go the way we think they're going to go. So don't think it's going to be a walkover just yet, viewers. Let's see what happens with the missiles. There, you can see the Seeker head there in blue. So not long before it sees the ship and the ship sees it. Okay, 1600 knots. Ships don't see it yet. There's always going to be a reaction time. It takes a few seconds before they can actually get to action stations and start, you know, firing the weapons. And that's the potency, I guess, of these fast missiles. It just chews into that time. There we go. See them? 15 miles, off we go. But look how quickly they're coming in. There's just not enough time to fire enough missiles to stop this. So they just have to rely on the big GOD now and hope that the missiles don't split equally between all 4 vessels. Two down. 3 down. One was unscathed. One was unscathed. Who would have thought, viewers? Now remember, I can't do anything about that even if I wanted to. Even if I'd paused, chosen all of my ships to fire at the 4 different targets, I would still get the same result. It's not the targeting that's the problem, it's the missiles themselves making the decision on the fly. My understanding is the only missile we have that has proper data linking that can actually control the missiles and divvy up the targets properly would be the P-700, fired by the Kirov and I think the Kiev cruiser / aircraft carrier. So this is very possibly a real thing that would happen in real life. Now, here's a bonus of having fast missiles. Before the Harpoons have even come over the horizon, the Sovremenny have assessed the damage via the well, I don't know how they've assessed the damage, but they have somehow, and they fired their next round of missiles. In fact, they won't have assessed the damage because they won't have known. They just fire their missiles because that's what their script is going to tell them to do. Now, the question is, will these get here before the Harpoons reach? Well, almost certainly. And will they attack the target that hasn't been hit? Well, it looks like it, doesn't it? That's a good spot of luck for them, because to the missile, the live target looks the same as the dead target. Not the same with modern missiles. Modern missiles are much more intelligent. These, not so much. It's early 1980s tech, remember. Oh dear, viewers, that's luck of the draw, I'm afraid. Down. It looks like the mag went up. Yep. Oh, Jesus. Painful to watch, viewers. 10,000 tons just going down like that. Don't worry, viewers. They are purely computer-based sailors. They won't mind. Right, now they can still force a draw, as strange as it sounds, because they fight 32 Harpoons, and that can easily overwhelm systems. Remember, there's no Aegis here. They're just fighting by themselves. Oh, what's going on? They're still firing missiles, even though there's nothing to shoot at. Well, again, I guess they don't know that those vessels are dead, right? They just see something on the... Here we go, Harpoons. Harpoons coming over the horizon. Sovremenny getting their defences ready. Choosing to roll broadside, I think. Very impressive. Harpoons have the same problem as old Harpoons. They'll just turn their seeker heads on and they'll go for what they decide is the right target. It may go for all of them, it may go for one of them. Come on, Harpoons, come on, Harpoons, come on, Harpoons, come on, Harpoons! They're diving, they're diving! One's hit. Come on, more, more, more! Two's hit! Three's hit! Sorry, no, just two. Oh, loads of missiles went for this. That's unfortunate, viewers, but again, that's the tech of the time, I'm afraid. We're not in 2024 now. Pause. Let's just see what we've missed. Oh, still more missiles coming in. Oh, look, that one missed. That's all of the missiles. That's all 32. So let's see what damage we've done. Unfortunately, like the first salvo of Soviet missiles, they deconflicted targets pretty badly. But let's go and check it out. So, this guy here is... he's done for. He's done for. The hull is destroyed, it's sinking. That's the end of that, so one down. This guy here, oh Jesus, he doesn't look too smart, does he? Harpoons, although small, can just cause so much damage. And we found that in the 1982 Falklands conflict. Exocet missiles, very similar to the Harpoon, hit our ships, and sometimes didn't even detonate, but still sunk them. I get the feeling he's not going to survive. He's got one damage control team, and almost certainly that mag's about to go up. This guy here, I thought he was hit. Maybe I've got that wrong. Yes, he was hit, but it's minor. It's taken out the defences, but that's it. Yep, two ships is now sunk. Oh dear, viewers, that's a shame. Tico was severely thrashed. I didn't think it would be that easy for them, but it was. Let's talk about why. Well, all the reasons we talked about before, plus again, with these missiles, it's really is specifically designed to do this job, and it did this job really well. I was a little bit disappointed that the Harpoons didn't divide themselves very well, and we could keep running this and we get slightly different variations of the result. But again, I don't want to start scripting basically, just to, you know, get clicks. Let's just run it once, and whatever happens, happens. It's, I think, a bit more of a scientific way of doing it. Now, I know you'll all be upset, but it is what it is, and I'm a bit upset, viewers, to see the Tico go. But don't worry, like I said, we'll bring in a more modernised version of the Tico, a post-1986 variant with more weapons and more ability to fight later on in the competition. But let's just stick with the pre-1986 variants so far, at the moment. Let's watch this last Sovremenny go down, shall we? Bye! Didn't sink. Yes, it did. They all sink in the end. Boom. Right, anyway, viewers, this battle's not over yet. That is the official result, and I think we could keep running it and we'll get more or less that result. You just get the feel by the weapons, don't you? That's how it's going to be. But we've still got our Galleon Battle, which is, of course, where we set them just a couple of miles or maybe a mile apart from each other and let them fight with guns, and we can already see someone is sea-whizzing someone. In terms of who's going to win this, well, it's going to be a gunfight pretty much, and unfortunately the Sovremenny has got slightly bigger guns and twice as many of them in terms of naval guns and bigger sea whiz, so I think this unfortunately is going to be a one-way match as well, viewers. You've just got such a potent destroyer here. Right, anyway, unpause and enjoy. It's the 30mm sea whiz is firing first. And we have the... oh dear. It's just going to be overwhelming, I'm afraid. Oh my god, look what the guns did. It's not even missiles, they're not even firing missiles. Ooh, oh, lucky hit from a 5-incher. Sovremenny magazine's gone up. Good shooting techs. All guns are, of course, radar assisted. Pause. I think they're using their SM2s as surface to surface. Now, I wonder if the Gladflies are also being used as surface to surface. I don't know. I don't actually know who's going to win here. I thought it was going to be a walkover for the Soviets, but I think I may be wrong. Let's see who's winning on... oh, the Americans are winning. It must be the SM2s, look. They're doing the damage. More than the guns. That makes sense, doesn't it? Got a much bigger warhead. Well done, Americans. That's it, they've won. They're going to keep firing because they can, or maybe not. Just never know how these things could go. I would have said definitely the Soviets would have won because of the, you know, twice as many guns, bigger guns at this point. The problem is guns, I don't know what you think about this, viewers, never seem to do that much damage. It takes, well, I don't know about hundreds, but it takes many shots to do significant damage to a warship. Whereas a missile, presumably, you know, bigger warhead, just can take a ship out with one missile if you get it in the right place, which is, you know, kind of modelled here to a certain degree. And the American ships are barely scratched. That one wasn't even touched, or, you know, just some naval gunfire. This one, I can't see what's wrong with it, but it's pretty minor, I imagine. Fire aft. This one, fire on the bow, but again, it's not going to be a major problem. This one's got the most damage, but that is almost certainly not going to sink. They're going to repair that. You can even see the crews out on the side. So there's a little bit of revenge, viewers. Although the Sovremenny goes through to the final, Tico did excellent at close quarters, and as I said, we'll bring back a 1990s variant at the end just to show how powerful it can be. Well, I hope so. I hope you enjoyed that, and bye bye.